Have you ever seen a bird afraid to sing? English is just like that, a song waiting for you to try it. Welcome to the Fluent Storybook, where stories make learning English fun and easy. Let's discover together how talking in English can be as simple as starting a conversation with a friend. Madison was a shy girl who always felt nervous about speaking English. Even though she understood the words in her head, saying them out loud seemed like a mountain too high to climb. Every time her teacher asked a question in class, Madison would look down, hoping not to be noticed. One morning, her teacher, Mrs. Carter, walked into the classroom with a bright smile and announced, "Today, we're going to share something interesting about ourselves." Just one sentence is enough. Madison's heart sank. She thought to herself, what if I say something wrong? The other students started sharing their sentences one by one. "I love to play soccer," said Jake confidently. "I have a pet turtle," added Emily with a giggle. Madison listened carefully, but felt her palms sweating as her turn came closer. Mrs. Carter finally called her name. "Madison, would you like to share something about yourself?" Madison hesitated, but remembered something her dad told her the night before. You don't need to be perfect. Just start with one small step, and the rest will follow. Taking a deep breath, Madison stood up and said softly, "I love drawing pictures of animals." For a moment, the room was silent. Then, Mrs. Carter beamed and said, "That's wonderful, Madison. What's your favorite animal to draw?" Madison blinked in surprise. She hadn't expected such a warm reaction. A horse," she said, her voice a little stronger this time. Her classmates clapped, and she felt her cheeks warm with a mixture of relief and pride. When the class ended, Madison's best friend Lily came over and said, "I didn't know you liked drawing. That's so cool. Can I see one of your pictures?" Madison smiled and nodded. That day, Madison learned something important. Confidence doesn't come all at once. It grows little by little, just like a tree starting from a small seed. She felt proud that she had taken her first step. And from then on, whenever she spoke English in class, it felt just a little easier. After her first small success in class, Madison felt a little more confident. She decided to keep trying, even though speaking English still made her nervous. She told herself, if I can do it once, I can do it again. A few days later, Madison and her mom went to a new bakery in town. The bakery was famous for its delicious cookies and cakes, and Madison couldn't wait to try something. As they stood in line, her mom said, "Why don't you order for us today? It's good practice." Madison's heart skipped a beat. She looked around nervously. There were so many people in the bakery, and everyone seemed so confident and relaxed. She thought about saying no, but then she remembered the happy feeling she'd had after speaking up in class. She nodded slowly and said, "Okay, I'll try." When it was their turn, the cashier smiled and said, "Hi there. What can I get for you today?" Madison felt her throat tighten, but she took a deep breath and said, "Can I have 2 chocolate cookers, please?" The cashier blinked for a moment, then smiled warmly. "Do you mean chocolate cookies?" he asked gently. Madison's face turned red. She covered her mouth, embarrassed. "Oh no," she thought, "I said it wrong." But then something unexpected happened. The cashier chuckled softly and said, "Don't worry, I like the sound of chocolate cookers. Maybe I'll invent a cookie-making machine and call it that." He winked, and Madison couldn't help but laugh. Even the people behind her in line smiled. Madison corrected herself with a shy grin. "Yes, chocolate cookies, please." She handed the money to the cashier, feeling both embarrassed and proud at the same time. As they walked out with their cookies, Madison's mom patted her shoulder. "You see, honey, mistakes aren't the end of the world. In fact, they make you better. Now you'll never forget how to say chocolate cookies, right?" Madison nodded, nibbling on her cookie. "I guess you're right. And he was really nice about it, too." From that day, Madison stopped worrying so much about making mistakes. She realized that people weren't waiting to laugh at her. They wanted to help her. She also learned that a little laughter could make even a mistake feel okay. Every time she spoke English and messed up a word, Madison would smile and say, "Oops, I mean this." And each time, she got better and better. After her experience at the bakery, Madison started feeling less afraid of speaking English. She realized that mistakes weren't as scary as she had thought. But there was one thing she still struggled with: practicing English regularly. At home, she spoke mostly in her native language with her family, and she didn't know how to get more chances to speak English. One afternoon, as she was drawing in her notebook, her mom came into her room. "Madison," she said, "do you remember Emma from next door? She invited you over to play. Would you like to go?" Madison hesitated. She remembered meeting Emma once before. Emma was friendly, but she only spoke English. "What if I don't know what to say?" Madison asked nervously. Her mom smiled. "Just be yourself. You love drawing, right? Maybe you can show her your sketches. And who knows? You might have fun practicing with her." Encouraged by her mom's words, Madison grabbed her sketchbook and went over to Emma's house. Emma greeted her with a big smile. "Hi, Madison. I'm so glad you came. Do you want to play a game or draw together?" Madison felt a little shy, but said, "Can we draw?" She opened her sketchbook and showed Emma her drawings of animals. Emma's eyes lit up. "Wow, you're really good. I love drawing too. Can I try drawing a horse like yours?" The two girls sat side by side, chatting while they drew. At first, Madison stumbled over her words, trying to explain how she shaded her horse's mane. But Emma didn't mind. She asked questions and laughed with Madison when she mixed up her words. "You're doing great," Emma said, "and I can tell you really love drawing." As they talked, Madison realized something important. Speaking English with Emma felt different. It wasn't like being in class, where she worried about getting things right. With Emma, it felt like a fun game. They took turns sharing their favorite animals, and Emma even taught Madison new words like eagle and otter. When it was time to go home, Emma said, "You should come over again soon. We can practice more English and maybe draw a zoo." Madison laughed and nodded. "Okay, that sounds fun." From that day on, Madison and Emma became good friends. They played games, drew pictures, and even made up silly songs in English. Madison found herself speaking English without thinking so much about it. The best part? Madison realized that having a friend to practice with made learning feel exciting instead of scary. Emma didn't care if Madison made mistakes, and Madison felt more confident every time they talked. At school, Madison started noticing other classmates who might want to practice English too. She joined a group that stayed after class to play word games in English. She even taught some of the words she had learned from Emma. Little by little, Madison's world got bigger. She wasn't just learning English. She was making friends, laughing, and enjoying every step of the journey. Madison's confidence in speaking English continued to grow. Thanks to her time with Emma and her new group of friends at school, she realized that practicing English could be fun. But there was still one thing she struggled with: finding the right words when she had to talk about something unfamiliar. Every time she tried to explain something she didn't know much about, she felt stuck. One evening, as Madison was drawing in her sketchbook, her dad walked into her room. "What are you working on this time, Maddie?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder. "It's a giraffe," she said, smiling. She had been working on the shading for its long neck. "I think it's my favorite animal to draw." Her dad grinned. If you ever feel nervous speaking English, maybe you could talk about your drawings. You know so much about them, and you love them. That might make it easier." Madison thought about his advice. Maybe he's right. I do love talking about animals and drawing them. She decided to give it a try. The next day at school, during their lunch break, Madison sat with Emma and some of their classmates. Emma was showing everyone a bracelet her aunt had sent her from another country. "It's so pretty," Emma said, passing it around. My aunt lives in South Africa, and she told me there are lots of giraffes there. Madison's ears perked up. Did you say giraffes? She asked, her voice full of excitement. Emma nodded. Yeah. Have you ever seen one? Madison's cheeks flushed, but she smiled. I haven't seen one in real life, but I draw them all the time. They're my favorite animals. Did you know their tongues can be almost 2 feet long? And they use them to clean their ears. The group laughed, and Emma said, That's so cool. I didn't know that. Encouraged by their interest, Madison pulled out her sketchbook from her bag. Look, I drew this one yesterday. She flipped to the page with her giraffe drawing, and everyone gathered around to see. Wow, Madison, one of her classmates said. You're really good at this. Another added, Can you draw other animals too? Maybe a lion? Madison grinned. I can try. I also like drawing elephants and horses. They're really fun because they have so many details. The conversation flowed naturally, and for the first time, Madison forgot to be nervous about speaking English. She realized that talking about something she loved made the words come easier. That afternoon, her teacher asked the class to write a short paragraph and share it with the group. When it was Madison's turn, she stood up without hesitation. I wrote about giraffes, she said confidently. She read her paragraph aloud, and her classmates listened attentively. After class, her teacher, Mrs. Carter, stopped her and said, Madison, you've grown so much in your confidence. You're really shining now. Madison smiled, remembering her dad's advice. Talking about what she loved had made all the difference. From then on, whenever she needed to speak English, she focused on topics she enjoyed. Whether it was drawing, animals, or even her favorite books, her enthusiasm helped her find the right words. Her friends at school started asking her to teach them how to draw. Sometimes, they would sit together after class, chatting in English while they sketched. It became a special way for Madison to connect with others and practice at the same time. By following her passion, Madison not only became more confident in her English, but also discovered how much fun it could be to share her interests with the people around her. Madison's journey with English had come a long way. From her shy beginnings in the classroom to ordering cookies at the bakery, making friends with Emma, and sharing her love for drawing, she had grown so much. But Madison also knew one important thing. To keep improving, she couldn't stop now. She needed to keep trying every day. One morning, as she got ready for school, her mom handed her a small notebook. What's this for? Madison asked, flipping through the blank pages. It's your new English practice book, her mom said with a smile. Every day, I want you to write something in it. It could be anything, a sentence about your day, a new word you learned, or even a little story. Just one small thing. Madison liked the idea. That day during lunch, while her classmates talked, she wrote in her notebook, Today, I learned a new word, courage. It means being brave, even when you were scared. She smiled as she finished writing. That word felt like it belonged to her now, after all the brave steps she had taken. At home, she started practicing with Emma over video calls. Let's do a word challenge, Emma said one evening. We'll each think of a word and use it in a sentence. Madison loved the game. It didn't feel like practice, it felt like fun. She also set small goals for herself. One week, she decided to focus on asking questions. She started simple, like asking her teacher, What is our homework for tomorrow? Or asking Emma, What's your favorite color? The more she practiced, the easier it became. Some days were harder than others. There were times when she still felt nervous, especially when trying to speak in front of people she didn't know. Once at the grocery store, she tried to ask a worker where to find the cereal aisle. Her words came out jumbled, and she felt her cheeks flush. But instead of giving up, she smiled and tried again. The worker smiled back and said, You're doing great. Aisle 3. Moments like these reminded Madison that even small efforts mattered. Each time she tried, she was taking a step forward. By the end of the school year, Madison's progress was impossible to miss. Her teacher, Mrs. Carter, asked her to speak during the school's end-of-year assembly. Madison's heart pounded as she stepped onto the stage, but she took a deep breath and began. When I started this year, I was scared to speak English. I was afraid of making mistakes. But I learned that mistakes are okay. They help you learn. I also found that talking about things I love, like drawing, makes it easier. And most of all, I learned to keep trying every day, even when it's hard. Her classmates clapped and cheered, and Madison felt a warmth in her heart she had never felt before. After the assembly, Emma ran up to her and said, "You were amazing, Madison. I'm so proud of you." Madison smiled, remembering how far she had come. From the quiet girl who could barely say a sentence in class to the confident person standing in front of everyone, she had proven to herself that speaking English wasn't impossible. It was just about taking small, steady steps every day. That night, as Madison wrote in her notebook, she thought about her journey. She wrote, "English is like a big puzzle. You put it together piece by piece. And every day, I'm finding more pieces." From that day on, Madison kept practicing, learning, and growing. She knew the key to success wasn't being perfect. It was simply showing up and trying. And with each small step, she discovered that speaking English really was easy when she believed in herself.